welcome to the third episode of Join Us at the Table. My name is Brandon Sage. I am a Management and Information Systems major at Santa Clara, and I am a student staff member at the Center for Food Innovation and Entrepreneurship in the Levy School of Business.
And my name's Albanie. I'm an Environmental Studies and Public Health double major, and I'm also a student staff member at the Center for Food Innovation and Entrepreneurship.
Our guest today is Letícia Guimarães. She was a Santa Clara student, so she's an alum, and she's currently an account manager at a startup called Choco. Welcome, Letícia. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Brandon, Albanie, thank you for having me here today. Yes, so as Brandon was saying, I graduated from Santa Clara University last year in 2019. I double majored in poli-sci and econ. I was also heavily involved in the equestrian team and study abroad and international student association. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here today.
Sweet. So if you could start by telling us a little bit about the mission of Choco and how you got involved there, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. So, as right after graduation, I was desperately looking for a job. And I stumbled upon Choco through my best friend, Melanie, who was already working there. And it's honestly one of the coolest places to be at right now. It's a very high energy startup. It's a lot of opportunity for learning. The mission behind it is really to completely change how the food supply chain works. Currently, we are heavily focused on the restaurant side of things. So we're connecting restaurants to their suppliers. So if they want to order their veggies, their meats, their dairy products, we're just facilitating that process. But the long-term vision of Choco is to help reduce food waste.
Wow, that's awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about how working in the food industry has changed your perspective on the food system?
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like it has completely changed my understanding of what it takes for a plate of food to arrive in front of me at a restaurant. And it's kind of like a twofold aspect here, because there's the side of the suppliers where it takes so much for the tomatoes, the rice, the beans, for the meat, for everything to come together in that plate. Normally restaurants have like 10 to 15 suppliers, and all these supplies come from different farms or different producers all over the place. But there's also the restaurant side of things, right? So it has given me an understanding of how hard it is to keep a restaurant alive, how hard it is to be a chef. Chef works crazy hours. Sometimes they will reach out at 6 a.m. or at 1 a.m., whatever it is, but these people work really, really hard. So it has given me a really good understanding of what it's like to be a chef.
That's awesome. So how have your personal habits changed in terms of what you eat and what you buy?
For sure. So I definitely have become a lot more conscious of where I eat. So I'll normally be like, no, let's go to that little small restaurant here. I don't want to go to this like big chain place. I've really understood the importance of supplying the local small restaurants. And also like it has made me a lot more conscious about food waste, especially like at home, just reconsidering before I buy something. And also it has made me really curious about where my products come from. So I feel like I've gained a much deeper understanding of brands and which producers are more sustainable, which ones have like better practices and things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I think those are important lessons for everyone to learn. So do you think that getting involved with food innovation or entrepreneurship while you were studying at Santa Clara would have benefited your career or experience after your time in university?
100%. I have no doubts of that. I definitely wish I had been more involved when I was at Santa Clara. I do have a fun fact. I went to one event, the Business of Wine and Spirits. I think it was back in my junior year. And I just remember being so inspired and so excited to have the chance as just a normal student to attend an event like that, because I had no clue how the wine supply chain worked, for example, and I had a chance to listen to all these people who were daily involved in the industry. So yeah, I definitely think it would have been really useful.
Cool. Yeah, that's an awesome event. Definitely a popular one. So now we're going to segue into sort of COVID-19 and the impact that that's had on your career. So could you tell us a little bit about how the coronavirus has impacted your work with Choco and how Choco is handling the situation?
Yeah, for sure. So it has been an immense challenge, I think, for any small business right now, for every company around the world to readjust to this like remote work life. And it for us, it has especially hit us because the food industry and the restaurant industry has been really affected. As you guys might know, like most restaurants are either closed, like they were mandated on March 16th to close their doors. And so the restaurants have had to completely reinvent themselves on how they could still stay alive in these times of COVID-19. And Choco had to reinvent alongside with the restaurants, right? So for on our side, like the structure looks a lot different. So people who were doing, say, like sales and account management were taken into some special projects into the company. We've done some like restructuring, like building foundations for the company that we normally wouldn't have done on a daily basis. So it has been really cool to work like, because we're a global company. We have people working in Europe, we have people working in South America and the United States. So we've all been working together to readapt to COVID-19 times. And we've also launched a number of new initiatives. For example, we launched the Choco Market, which basically, so normally we work from with the restaurants directly to the supplier. So it's more of a business to business startup. But we've completely, remodeled everything and switched from supplier to consumer. So what we do now is we actually provide your like regular consumer, someone at home, to buy directly from these local suppliers here. So for example, here in San Francisco, we are working with a supplier here to provide fresh vegetables, fresh seafood, whatever it is that you need for your home. So that was one of our biggest projects that was like really focused in our team right now.
Sweet. That sounds like a really interesting project, and those are all really important points. So our last question, do you have any final remarks or pieces of advice to students at Santa Clara, maybe specifically ones interested in food innovation?
Yeah, for sure. I would say in general, and I think this one goes especially out to seniors. I know it's a really strange time right now. Everyone is in their homes. We're all feeling sort of disconnected. But I would say like really work on fostering those connections that you've built at university, because these are connections that you'll carry on for your entire life. It takes like 4 years to build those connections. So don't let that stop, right? And specifically about the food industry, I would say just if you're interested in this, don't be afraid to become like 100% a nerd about the industry, right? So like read books about it and the most important players in the industry, like who is leading innovation right now, what are the companies right now that are completely modifying how the food industry works. And I would say like don't be afraid to go even as far as like have your entire Instagram feed be about the food industry, right? I can't say that probably like 60 or 70% of my Instagram feed right now is just chefs and restaurants, because it really makes a difference to have that deep understanding of where you work. Don't be afraid to like deeply fall in love with the industry.
Awesome. That's great advice. Thank you so much, Letícia. We're happy to have you on our third episode here of Join Us at the Table.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.